is now opening lines with Putin, sending him drones, which Putin is then using to attack civilians in Kyiv, Ukraine. Morgan Ortagus joins me now. Morgan, Iran is preparing to send ballistic missiles to Putin. That's the report I'm getting. Is it new? Is it real? Can you tell me that?
I think it is very real. The report is hundreds of them. What we know is that Iran has already been sending these suicide drones to Ukraine, obviously on behalf of the Russians. There was actually some reports over the weekend that policemen or troops in Kyiv were shooting them down. So this is something that I actually warned about last month. I wrote an op-ed in the Wall Street Journal pleading and trying to get the Biden administration to realize that they were undermining their Russia policy by what they've done over the past 19 months, which is to try and continue until recently to beg and cajole and plead with the Iranian regime to get them back in a deal. Essentially what you have seen, Stu, from the Europeans, from the Obama administration, and now from the same team that are in the Biden administration is an ongoing, a years-long policy of trying to appease Russia and Iran, and trying to, quote unquote, do deals, negotiate with them to appease them. And it's led us to the moment that we're in today. You don't get to these places that we're seeing with Russia and Ukraine overnight. It comes from years of failed policies, believing that you could convince the Iranians to start behaving normally by being in a weak and flawed deal, and that's why they're cooperating.
How could it possibly be in America's interests to conclude any kind of nuke deal with a rogue state like Iran? In what way could it possibly be in our interests?
There was no interest before all of this started, and there's certainly no interest now. I think it was last month or a month ago I was on your show, and I also talked about how this administration has greenlit billions of dollars for Russian nuclear energy to work with Iran on that as well. And so, it doesn't make any sense. On one hand, you're trying to sanction and punish the Russians. On another hand, you're giving their nuclear facilities billions of dollars in a deal with Iran for civilian nuclear energy. And now, of course, beyond what you're seeing the Iranians do to the women in the streets of Iran, you're seeing them send drones over, and now you're seeing them potentially send ballistic missiles.
Let me follow up on that again. Where is the American women's movement? They're slaughtering women. They're murdering them in jail in Iran. I hear nothing out of America. What's going on?
It is a tragedy. There was a woman who was killed a couple months ago, Masa Amini. That really started this off. You're seeing women in the streets being killed, being jailed, being injured. They're all just protesting for the right to show their hair. This is a movement that has inspired me and so many women around the world, but it also has is really brought to life how evil this regime is that the Biden team continues to negotiate with, and they continue to to refuse rolling out getting back in the nuclear deal. They think that they can negotiate with the oppressors of this women and provide billions of dollars of sanctions relief to these women's oppressors, but then on the other hand, tweet in solidarity in support of these Iranian women. They are literally funding their very oppressors. And even though they haven't done the deal yet, they're allowing China at this moment to purchase Iranian oil. They are not pressing on with the American sanctions. They're not enforcing the American sanctions that are on the books now. And so because of that, the regime effectively already has sanctions relief, and they're using it to oppress and crack down on these women in Iran.
Morgan, you know what you're talking about, and we really appreciate that. Come back and see us again real soon. Thank you, Morgan.
Thanks, Stu.